Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 161. Am I correct, Aaron Rift? We haven't done one for over a week here, and we have some breaking news this evening, in which we will get to shortly. But first, welcome back, everyone. Of course, I'm being joined by Aaron Rift. Big G is back, and Robbie Weiss is back. Gentlemen, Robbie, I'm thinking of some Boys to Men songs right now, like End of the Road. What's the other one? It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, because as we speak right now, Nia Jax and Eva Marie are no longer employed by WWE. What's up, Robbie?
Well, as we speak, trash bags are being filled to be mailed to, I believe, 18 superstars. I don't know, man. So I have decided I am no longer calling myself a wrestling fan based on the actions of like a lot of people and it's being awful. I'm a person who watches wrestling. I am no longer associating myself with the cultish, crazy tribal fan base. But things are good. Got married a couple weeks ago. I finally did my big wedding. Got my turtles in time back there that you can't see. Bought a Great Dane puppy, and I've been training her, and she's like almost 30 pounds at about 8.5, 9 weeks. So I don't sleep anymore, and that's basically my life right now. So I know we got a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to take up too much time. We'll just go ahead.
All right. Well, good to have you back, and this will be a power hour. Hopefully not too much longer than that, but we know how that goes. Big G, you don't look so happy to be here. I mean, Shayna Baszler's still working for WWE as far as I know. Or did you want her to be released?
At this point, I don't really give a rat's ass. Anyways, other than that, I'm doing good. I'm at we finally moved into a new place a couple weeks ago. Got a new kitten, got a new job. So I've been busy about the past month or so. So other than that, let's get this ball rolling like I used to.
All right. Aaron, over to you, and the super chats are already hot and heavy.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I thought we were going to have a little bit of a laid-back NoDQ review this week, but then I heard that there might be some releases, and I was just waiting to see. And about an hour before we went live, all the names started coming out, and we pretty much had to scrap everything we had planned. We may hit one or two topics that were originally planned, but yeah, we pretty much had to scrap all that. And we're going to be mostly talking about the releases. There's 18 people released from WWE. That's a lot. And at first it was believed that only maybe a small amount would be released. But 18, that's no small amount.
Plus the creative guy at Stanford or whatever, a big corporate guy got released, didn't they?
Yeah, there were some executive releases. WWE today had their third quarter earnings report, revenue something like 260 something million, a lot of money. The company's doing well. So with that, let me get to the first super chat here from our good friend Oofman. Oofman Entertainment sent in a $5 super chat. He says, with these budget cuts, will WWE survive in 2022? And the answer is yes. If you look at their numbers, they're safe. Big G, that cat is awesome. That cat is bringing the ratings to the NoDQ channel. I will say that much. What's your cat's name?
Harley.
Harley. Well, great to have Harley on. How old is young Harley?
About 9 weeks.
And you'll get another female cat, and you're going to name her Quinn.
We might adopt one of her brothers because it was three boys and one girl. So we got the female. We might get another cat eventually.
Oh, I thought you were cool. Named him after Harley Race. Quinn.
Harley Quinn, yeah.
Is it a female cat? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got some more super chats here, and I am going to read off the list here in just a minute. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $20 super chat. Says, congratulations to the newlyweds. Wishing y'all nothing but a lifetime of happiness. Thank you for that, Dwayne. I guess he's talking about all of us. I am married now as well. Virtue, you're the only one now of this group not married.
Been there, done that.
Well, me too. There's always a second chance, and you got a great woman you're with right now, so maybe that'll happen soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been together 6 months. 6 months, okay? We got time.
Well, she hasn't killed you in 6 months, Virtue. I feel like that's a feat in itself.
Yeah. She hasn't just completely gone post.
She hasn't had to tell me to turn Virtue off.
Well,
there you
we all hung out together, man. She seems like she likes you, so maybe you got to start planning for that. You got to start saving some cash back for that thing, man. She's gonna expect something big rock.
Aaron, you got some more super chats because we got to get and 18 people that you must mention here that got released.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat room already, and if you're enjoying this, please share the love, spread the word, and just tell a friend. Anything you can do, get people tuning into this. We are live. We're going to talk about all 18 releases here momentarily. Alberto Gomez sent in a $2 super chat. Says Nia Jax will come back. One word, and he put 2 words: The Rock. Anybody have a comment on that one about?
No, she's gone. She's done. Everyone hated her in the locker room.
All I can say is good luck, Impact Wrestling. Anyway.
I was just gonna say, what's Jaya Nax doing in the Impact Zone?
Man. I mean, I was surprised because of who she is, but again, right, when you're hurting people and you're not a draw, right, what do? You cut the fat.
Yeah.
Well, that was a little harsh of a comment there, Virtue, but
okay. Eva Marie, what was she doing for them? You cut the fat. There. I said it for both of them.
All right, fair enough. Mr.
Trim
Tito.
the fat. That's a business lingo too. I'm not making an insult. Where was your mind going?
I was going to the insult.
Anyway,
I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Tito sent in a very generous $50 super chat. Thank you, Tito. Says, congrats to you, Aaron, and your beautiful bride. Buy her something really nice, Aaron. Well, I did get her Mario Party Superstars. We'll be playing that this weekend. We really did not have a chance. And I am glad that there was no breaking news last week. It was pretty slow. Like, imagine trying to get married and then all of a sudden there's all this breaking news. It would have been quite a disaster for me to try and get to work, but it still sucks. Like, just anytime there's news about people being released, it sucks. I feel terrible for the wrestlers, and a lot of them will find work somewhere else and they'll be all right. It just sucks that a lot of these guys and gals either did not get an opportunity or they were given a very short opportunity and were not able to really succeed to their fullest capabilities. So we'll break it down here and talk about these releases here in just a minute. Let me see if there's any other super chats. Okay, we do have another one here from Caleb Jacobs, and we'll start with these two. We got 18 names here. The first 2 on the list we'll talk about: Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Now, Caleb Jacobs sent in a $5.23 super chat. Says, this is a question for everyone. Is this a blessing in disguise for Karrion and Scarlett? He can go back to being a killer, future Impact World Champion, in my opinion. All right. So Karrion Kross, they brought him to the main roster. They stripped down everything that he had going for him. They took away his music. Scarlett was not with him. They put a mask on him. They had him lose his first match on Raw to Jeff Hardy, and it just wasn't working out. And they decided to change things up with him. They aired some little video packages for him, and then he just disappeared, and they did nothing with him. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. I'm not sure if AEW is going to pick him up or not. Their roster is getting very bloated. I could see him going back to Impact, him and Scarlett getting a renewed push. So, Robbie, I'll throw it over to you. Your thoughts on Karrion Kross and Scarlett being released, and if this is actually a good thing for them.
I think it's a good thing for everybody. They obviously didn't want him. I thought it was really cool. They finally got to use the Spartacus gimmick they invented for Ric Flair all those years ago. They got to throw it on Karrion Kross. But let's face it, without Scarlett, without his entrance, he really wasn't that entertaining. I mean, he comes across as kind of a gimmick big man, and he does what he does okay. I don't think he fits WWE style. I don't think he fits what they're doing with NXT. And I'm just going to lead the rest of these releases like this. I mean, realistically, guys, look at it this way. Vince McMahon decided that there is no competition to his company after the biggest dropped ball in wrestling history is how they've booked CM Punk since his return. They had so much potential. There was so much hype, and it fell flat. It did nothing. And I think after watching that, Vince is making record profits, and he says, you know what, pal, get rid of them. We don't need them anymore. We're not doing NXT. There's no threat from any of the other organizations. I want to make more money. But yeah, dude, I don't care about Karrion Kross.
No.
Are you yelling at me, Big G?
No.
Oh, okay. But I don't think it's a big deal. Like I said, Karrion Kross will likely go back to Impact. He might go to AEW because they don't really have any big men over there that can really work that come to mind. Not ones that don't jump on their heads and almost kill themselves on a weekly basis, but I don't know. I think it's fine. He'll get work somewhere else. Him and his wife will be fine. WWE will be better off. It increases their profit margins, which is realistically at this point the only thing they care about. So I think it's good for everybody.
Man, it's just crazy to me because Karrion Kross and Scarlett had such a badass entrance in NXT, but I remember Adam Cole got in the ring and started cutting a promo on Karrion Kross, and I feel like that promo aged really well. I mean, Big G, do you think Karrion Kross was more smoke and mirrors and maybe WWE was onto something that he really wasn't anything all that special? What do you think?
So I hadn't seen anything about Killer Kross. I'm going with Killer Kross now because he's no longer in WWE. And when I saw him come to NXT, I thought, okay, this guy is pretty cool. He could be the next big, one of the next big star. But I feel like Vince lately does not want to push any new stars. He keeps on reusing and recycling and rehashing the same champions that he's had for whenever. What's going to happen when Brock Lesnar, The Rock, John Cena, his part-timers decide they don't want to work for WWE anymore? Who's he going to push? You have to build young stars, fresh talent to keep things fresh and keep your momentum going if you want to have momentum.
That's what they're trying to do with NXT 2.0 now. But
okay, what's going to say Vince? What if Vince does not like? Okay,
Vince didn't become. He bought his dad's company and turned it into a $1 billion worldwide conglomerate by pushing larger-than-life stars, not by Triple H signing indie wrestlers to be wrestling stars. Right? Vince is going back to how he made money. That he's going to try it. Maybe it's dated, but that's what he's going back to. He did not create Karrion Kross and Scarlett. That's why it didn't work.
Okay, I understand he didn't create them, but how are you going to bring up NXT stars and Vince doesn't like them and then he's going to release them too?
Well, no, because he's hiring all the NXT guys now. That's Vince.
Oh, okay, that's Vince hiring. Okay,
it's his cookie
but
jar
still,
now.
like, who has been their biggest star in the past 10 years? Not Roman Reigns.
Well, can I counter that with a question?
Yeah,
who on that list is actually a big star that actually could draw?
Well, if they gave them time.
No. Right now. Who?
Okay, nobody.
Exactly.
They don't give them time, Robbie. They don't give these people time.
Nia Jax, Ember Moon.
Okay, I'm not worried about Nia Jax. No, but you could have done something with Keith Lee.
You couldn't. He was hurt, and he had some personal issues going on.
Okay, so you're gonna fire people over personal issues.
Can't talk.
I mean,
he sucks
it's
on the mic.
Stupid.
He's bottom 5% on the mic, and that's what WWE wants.
Yeah, they're sports entertainment, man. I mean, Keith Lee was. I think in NXT, the old NXT, Keith Lee was by far a great character.
Yeah.
It didn't work on the main roster.
They just changed his gimmick to that Bearcat thing, and
that's very recently, though. I mean, he came out pretty flat, and we all talked about how flat he came out if I recall that review.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I just feel like
we got a lot of wrestlers to talk about.
Yeah.
So here's my take: Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux. They were a product of the Indies, of Impact Wrestling, wherever they were before. Triple H gave them that shot, and they did good, but Vince was trying to mold them into something they weren't. And I can see people thinking he was a little bland. And look, everybody knows I love a good conspiracy. Let's be honest. WWE is petty. The what's his name? Killer Kross. I was going to say Karrion. He was trained by Disco Inferno Glenn Gilberti, who is Vince Russo's good buddy. This guy had no chance in WWE with Bruce Pritchard as a yes man to Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis as a yes man to Vince McMahon. He had no chance. No chance. Yeah, you can say Virtue full of shit. Dude, seriously. That's another reason why Karrion Kross is no longer with WWE. Who trained him and the path of association. That's all I'm going to say about those guys.
All right, let me get to some more of these super chats here because we got quite a few. And let me see. I'm trying to catch up here. Hopefully I get to everybody.
Corey Bridges, you're a mark. You're a mark, buddy. You're a mark here watching me complain about wrestling. So suck it. Okay, Aaron, back to you.
All right.
Wow.
Alberto Gomez said Killer Kross is coming back. AEW maybe. Again, I feel like he's probably going to go back to Impact, but we'll see what happens. And there's not really any spots in AEW. Like they got a full roster. I don't even
start releasing those undercard guys.
Robbie, brand split.
Dude, I mean, it's not unheard of. We've obviously seen that in WWE, but there's a lot of people in AEW that suck, that shouldn't be on TV. You got like Jade Cargill. You got a lot of these people that have names and they have a look, but they're not like draws. They're not good. Some of these people are upgrades to that AEW roster. It's just, I'm curious to see what the fans do when they start letting these under guys go, you know? But yeah, there was no stars released in this, but there's still upgrades on that top heavy all elite wrestling roster.
Well, folks, Robbie speaks his mind, and he's got some fans in here. Jay Hunter says, "Man, Robbie Vice is great on here." So there you go. Just keep in mind that what Vice say doesn't necessarily mean I agree or disagree with them, but this is
all opinions are my own.
Well,
and do not
the reason why
anything with NoDQ.com.
Like Virtue and Vice right here, the reason why we get people that like us and then the ones that hate us, because we speak logical truth, and diehard wrestling fans, there is a portion that appreciate honesty, right, Robbie? And then there's the people that hate us because they don't want to hear it. We're here to deliver honest opinion takes from knowledge we've gathered, not just to be hot takes, but literally things that have happened in the business before. And we're not just blowing smoke.
And I also want to add that my opinions mean absolutely nothing. I am literally a dude on the internet that's giving my opinion. But I do not claim that I know all the answers.
Right. It's good to get a variety of opinions. And
sending opinions, absolutely.
Shout out to Big G, too, over there. He's happy to be here. He's got some good opinions.
I haven't heard the Big G clap yet today, though, and I'm a little upset about it.
What happened?
I haven't heard the clap yet. Come on, buddy. Like,
there you go.
And by the way, I have probably one of the hottest track records in the history of NoDQ of hot takes and column form on NoDQ that have come to fruition over the years. And I still don't get the respect I deserve, but that's okay. I'm going to keep being me. And Robbie, you keep being you. And Big G, you keep being you.
I will. So at this point, do you think they should just combine the rosters now?
I think they're going. I think
they just released 18. Some was from NXT.
But here's the thing: they still have a gigantic roster. They released 18 people, and they still have more than enough talent to give us the same repeat matches every week that we've been eating for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to some more of these super chats here before we fall too far behind. Let me go back up here. I got to read Walter Cruz. He said, "What budget cuts? WWE just got a bunch of blood money." Yeah, that they did. They got
more better money, though.
Yeah, billion-dollar corporations are that for a reason.
Ernie Eastman sent in a $2 super chat. Let's go, Brandon. Apparently that was some kind of political comment that was deleted. We're not going to read off that one. So we'll move on here. Good old JM, Jeff Meacham with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jeff. Says, finally got this feed playing and my links generated. I'll be on here and my channel with my thoughts immediately following the review. And he posted the link. So you guys can get Jeff's thoughts in just a little bit as soon as we go off the air. Thank you for that, Jeff. And Alberto Gomez with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Alberto. Says, actually, I take that back about Kross and AEW. AEW can't be responsible for every released talent out there. They got to focus on their contracted ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tony Khan is like Sid from Toy Story. He wants all of them, and he doesn't care what happens to him after he has it.
Dude, Robbie, do you think that's part of like Nick Khan and Vince McMahon? Like, oh, let Tony Khan, let AEW sign more people. Like, budget.
He did it to WCW. I mean, that's kind of a tried and true strategy. They're not going to beat them in the ratings, so they'll just suffocate their money out.
True.
All right, let's see here. All right, so Richard Morales sent in a $2 super chat. He actually sent two $2 super chats with the same comment, so thank you for the $4 super chat. He says, releases Keith Lee, but keeps Dana Brooke. Shaking my head. All right, so did we talk about Scarlett? I mean, they're their package deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about it with her. I mean,
All
we
right,
got
let's get to Keith Lee and Mia Yim. WWE releasing the couples, although there was another couple that was broken up here from these releases. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Keith Lee and Mia Yim. Mia Yim, they haven't done anything with her really since Retribution broke up. I mean, nothing with her. Keith Lee, they brought him to the main roster. He was doing really well in NXT. So again, kind of like with Karrion Kross, they stripped away what got him over in NXT. They took away his music. I loved his music in NXT. I thought it was great. And they changed his attire. Why? I mean, we can all speculate on why, but I did not have a problem with his physique in NXT and his attire. I thought it was fine. You know, not everybody has to have six-pack abs in WWE. Like, people come in all different shapes and sizes. I was fine with how Keith Lee looked. They changed that. They started having him cut these, scripted WWE promos, and we mentioned it earlier. He's not the best promo guy, and they tried to have him change his style in the ring. He was kind of like a cruiserweight, a heavyweight doing a cruiserweight style. They wanted to change that, so they repackaged him as Keith Bearcat Lee, and then 2 weeks into the push, they cut him. Like, they bring him in, they start using him on TV, and then they cut him. So it's really mind-boggling why they would just even bother in the first place to repackage him and then not even give him a chance to succeed. I guess they just saw him 1 week and they're like, nope, this is not going anywhere. So Big G, your thoughts on Keith Bearcat Lee and Mia Yim being released?
Well, like you said, Mia Yim, she really hadn't done anything since Retribution. I mean, she was in NXT, she was involved in the women's division, going after the NXT women's title. See, what I don't understand, you can keep Gargano and Ciampa down there for as long as they've been there, but Keith Lee and all of them, I'm sure they wanted to go to the main roster eventually, but they go to the main roster and nothing is done with Mia Yim. She was in Retribution. I don't think she had any matches when she was in Retribution. If she did, it was like one or two. And then Keith Lee, like you said, he was great down in NXT. I liked his theme music. You bring him up to the main roster, and you completely sabotage all the momentum he had down in NXT. And I understand NXT and the main roster are two different things. Vince is running the main roster with his kiss-ass buddies, Bruce Pritchard and whoever else is there. And they say, all right, let's switch up his gimmick. We'll switch his music up. We don't care what the fans think. The fans, they don't like anything, so we're just going to switch it up. We're going to change his gear, change his music, change how he wrestles in the ring. And then, I was kind of digging, this Keith Bearcat Lee. It was a gimmick, made him – they were trying to turn him into more of a dominant monster. And yeah, he didn't do so well on the mic, but you could have had a mouthpiece for him or something. You could have I don't know how good Mia Yim was on the mic.
Adam Cole.
Oh God, yeah, Adam Cole. Yeah, shave his head and everything, right? And change his name because you already have a Cole on the show. Anyways, stupid. I don't know what else to say. Somebody else just.
Well, I want to respond. Power Packers put something up there and saying, why am I bashing AEW because they didn't release 4 dozen people during the pandemic? Dude, I don't care. I don't care about people being released. I am not friends with the wrestlers. I do not know these people personally. I have no dog in that fight. I look at what the shows are week in and week out. I don't get involved in the tribalism of following people and be like, well, don't criticize them because that's a person. Every single person on this list, every single person that I watch on TV is a character on a TV show. That's all they are. I don't care. Like, I don't know them as people. So stuff like that doesn't matter to me. You can get involved in all of that weird, getting really close to the wrestlers and pretending you're friends with them. But I watch characters on a TV show, and if I don't like a character, I don't take that person into consideration at all. But when things behind the scenes happen of a TV show, I don't watch wrestling because I want to know everything about these guys' personal lives. I watch a TV show with characters that are playing a character on TV. So I don't really know what that has to do with anything. So if you want to clarify that at some point.
It's just interesting because wrestling's not like other shows on television because it's like a blend of real life and fiction. These are real people. Yes, they're playing characters, but they're also real people out there putting their bodies on the line. So it is a bit of a different dynamic from TV shows or movies. And with Twitter and social media, there's also that blending of real life and fiction where sometimes wrestlers tweet in character, other times they're tweeting.
But that happens in movies. That happens in any sports-based show, like Friday Night Lights or anything like that. They're doing stuff. It's still scripted. It's still a TV show just because they're, pretending to fight and they're taking some bumps. Yeah, but that's not them as a person. Like when they're on TV, that's a character. The only time it's not is when Roman came out as Joe or whatever, announced his leukemia. Like that was him as a person, and people gave him the respect that he deserved in that moment because he wasn't in character. Other times, though, when he's saying acknowledge me, he's a character on a TV show. So if he gets fired at some point, like I'm not like, oh no, it's Joe. I'm like, oh, they released Roman Reigns. That's shocking. I don't know.
Robbie, it comes down to fans. They're better bookers and promoters than the people that actually do it. And granted,
things get too involved.
Granted, right? I give Tony Khan a hard time. He's a billionaire. I can't help that. I can't help that. He's doing what he's doing because he's rich, but he's still new into this wrestling thing. So therefore, I feel I can give him a hard time. Now, Mia Yim, Aaron, she'll find work. Keith Lee, can I say it's surprising? No, because how WWE is. I mean, they released Aleister Black. They released Rusev, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman. Why should I be surprised that they released Keith Lee?
Right.
I feel that
safe.
I don't know why I hope it's not Impact. Like Impact is still there. Somehow they're able to give wrestlers some money. So I guess that's a good thing so they can get some work. I think Tony Khan's licking his chops over Keith Lee because I think he's got that Napoleon complex thinking, Vince McMahon, I'm going to prove him wrong. You couldn't do something with him. Now this is my opportunity. So to me, Keith Lee to AEW is a very big possibility because the way Tony Khan is vocal about doing all this, I'm John Moxley's publicist now. I'm the booker. I'm the writer. Tony Khan, he's going to want Keith Lee because he's going to want to prove to all the diehard wrestling fans, you were right. He is awesome. So that's what I think is going to happen there.
Good point.
Virtue. Yeah, I agree with you. Keith Lee's going to end up in AEW. Same thing with Mia Yim. You got to look at Keith Lee's roots. Ring of Honor, PWG, Keith Lee was one of those guys. Like he was one of those he was one of those workers, those guys that go out there and put on the 5-star matches. Keith Lee was a guy that made his name on the indie scene.
And I mean, Keith Lee was up there in age too. He's like in his 40s. I think WWE wants to go for that younger young blood.
They do. That's definitely WWE looking at younger talent.
It sucks that these people are losing their jobs, but like you said, they'll find other places to work out. Well, except for Ring of Honor at the moment. So
the game is on 100. Sent in a $2 super chat. Says you have to remember no one bigger than WWE. Well, I mean, it's very much the brand and. Bret Hart said it best. It's like a circus where the guys come in.
There are a few, Aaron, that I think they would still back the Brinks truck up for, like Brock Lesnar, but he's grandfathered in with that. Probably Roman Reigns. And I don't even know. Charlotte Flair was not on this list today, which, again, she's champion. But that was interesting, too. But we'll have to see how that develops.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, I don't believe Braun Breaker has a chance on the main roster. Well, I'm not sure about that.
Vince McMahon's world, he's got a hell of a shot.
Because once again, Vince McMahon is in charge of this NXT 2.0 or Bruce or someone that he trusts. So I feel like there's a bigger chance that these characters in NXT now debut on the main roster with the exact same gimmick and name. I think the days of him changing that tug of war he does with Triple H to try to get power, right. I think that's all gone now. And I think that he's just going to be like, hey, pal, let's bring up Braun Breaker. Have him fight John Cena.
As Big G just said, it's a youth thing too. Braun Breaker's in his early 20s. Keith Lee pushing 40. They're moving
Aaron,
look, the younger guys.
The elephant in the room here, like Tony Khan needs to bring in a Keith Lee. Somebody you can maybe mold into a potential main eventer because it's all about equality today. And Keith, like He's an African American.
Yeah.
Push him as a top star.
Good point.
I'm saying that because, like, yes, it's cliche that businesses do that. Do it. He deserves, give him that chance.
There's been negative press for AEW right now because the demo that Tony Khan always brags about is actually like 18 to 49 white males. And that's the thing that they're the most proud of. And they're starting to get blowback from that if you look at some of these other sites. So especially because I think they just ran a tournament and they had Hobbs he was the only African-American in that tournament, and they had him eliminated first. And there was a lot of blowback from that, on Twitter from different wrestling
And
outlets.
I'll bring the next person into play, Aaron. For their women's division, Ember Moon in AEW is me, should be number one on their list.
Yep. I agree with that 100%.
I agree with that too. Ember Moon, they dropped the ball on hard, in my opinion. I thought she had a really great look, and I loved her.
They changed her gimmick.
Yeah, she had a really good opportunity to succeed, and she got injured, which definitely stalled her momentum. But then they just sent her back to NXT, so it was clear they really had no direction for her. But yeah, she's another one. I think Ember Moon will end up in AEW, and she could be a top star there. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $5 super chat, says, and yet Paige and Ricochet are still employed. Well, with Paige, she had her career ended, and they may just keep her for the rest of her contract. Ricochet, I'm actually a little surprised that he was not on this list because they really seem like they have no plan for him. He's just there.
But he's still pretty young too, isn't he?
No. Someone has to get pinned at the pay-per-views, Aaron.
But they got in the kickoff matches.
Yeah. And all those 6-man tags, someone has to eat the pinfall.
I guess so.
And it's Ricochet.
Yeah,
he'll do a cute little flip for the kids, and he'll get pinned, and no one will care. Next match.
All right, let me see. Let me see where we're at as far as the super chats go. I think we're caught up now.
Yeah, I mean, if this show just ends up being all about the releases, folks, we'll always we can bring up the topics that we might have had online that we were going to talk about tonight at another show. Because, I mean, we're already halfway in and we're still talking releases. So,
all right, let me get to some of these other ones. And I apologize if I miss any, but we do have a lot here, a lot of people commenting, which we very much appreciate. Thank you guys for your interactions in the chat room. The game is on 100. We also have over 200 live viewers right now, so thank you guys for tuning in.
That's why we got to talk about the releases, because that's what they're here to hear about.
No.
The game is on 100 with a $5 super chat, says, all of these AEW diehards are happy that these WWE talents released for Tony Khan to sign. The AEW diehards need to realize their bloated roster as it is. And yeah, that is true. Not all of these guys. In fact, I'm going to say maybe 4 or 5 will end up in AEW, and then the rest will probably end up in Impact Wrestling or doing some of the indie promotions like Game Changer Wrestling, PWG. And, unfortunately, Ring of Honor is going on hiatus, so that's one less place for people to work, at least for the foreseeable future. Shout out again to Big G's cat for interrupting the festivities.
Aaron, real quick, what are the chances, though? What are the chances that is there a chance, in your opinion, that some of these guys actually come back to WWE on a restructured contract?
Never say never.
It's possible. Samoa Joe was released and then they brought him back. So yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility.
No.
And think about this. What are they freeing money up for? Like, we all know, will they sell, right? I'll believe that when I see it. You free money up and you're already doing well, right? With their 255 or 256 million revenue, that was a good chunk of profit there. Maybe this is money they're going to get ready to bring The Rock in for a WrestleMania in the next year or two. That's how businesses work. You free up money to do the things you really want to do.
No.
Or there might be some big free agents in AEW whose contracts might be coming up that they want to throw some money at.
Yeah, I mean,
because I have a list of guys here who have signed in AEW that have done jack shit nothing, like the Revival and Rusev and Ty Dillinger.
Well,
Rusev might be getting a push
Jack
now.
Swagger and
Miro.
Don't count out Miro yet. He's facing Bryan Danielson and could possibly get a title
Rusev
shot.
versus Daniel Bryan. How exciting! I love the build they have for that match. At least they're not just doing a random cold match. That would be stupid and bad.
Well, weren't they didn't Moxley being out have a lot to do with that? I think
so. Yeah. I think it's a change of plans.
Yeah.
All right, Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Says, grass isn't always greener on the other side, though. Look how WCW messed up Bret Hart after jumping. Success isn't always guaranteed. And that's very true. Like, wrestling, there's a lot of options, but at the same time, you never know.
Yep.
Man.
But he did give us that visual of the Hogan head that Hogan took out for that gift.
I still think that Chris Jericho will land back in WWE at some point. You know, talking about the other way, the other door. And the reason why I say that is that's just Vince respected him for going to Japan and doing other stuff. And I think he'll pay that favor back if Vince wants him back. Now, the question is, will Jericho do some DDP yoga and get back to his WWE looking stuff? I think he will, because it's another book. It's another book to write. But anyway.
All right, Psycho Jet Black. Psycho Jet Black with the mandatory Ricochet comment. Is Ricochet more over than Keith Lee and Karrion Kross? Well,
no.
He's still there. I mean, he's more over with The Office until he's released.
The answer is really no, but I mean, it's too bad about Ricochet. Like, guy's really talented, and you know, I liked when him and Aleister Black were a tag team. I think that was a mistake to break them up. Like, they could have had a pretty good run as a tag team, in my opinion. But hey,
you need to be a character to be in the WWE, and Ricochet is about as exciting as a piece of wet cardboard.
I mean, I think what happened when Ricochet started cutting promos, you know, I think that's probably when Vince McMahon lost interest in him.
That's when I lost interest in him.
The promos were not good, man. And all right, let's move on to the next person on the list. Nia Jax. Nia Jax was taken off of television a couple months ago, and there's been a lot of controversies about her. There was the incident with Kairi Sane, with Kairi getting hurt, and there were other incidents over the years. Of course, we all remember Nia Jax busting up Becky Lynch, which in a way was maybe the best thing for Becky Lynch's career, that shot of the blood coming down her face. And then that really got Becky over with the fans. But yeah, Nia Jax has been a bit of a controversial figure in WWE, but were we surprised to see her gone? I mean, I'm a little surprised. Virtue, what do you think about Nia being let go?
Well, you know, considering her bloodline, a little bit, because I know she went away a while back, and I don't know exactly what all that was for. She was pouting, but she was probably making a pretty decent amount, I would think, just from her normal contract. And so I could definitely see that as a budget cut. I don't know, because, you know, WWE, like, if they were going to fire her or release her because of how she worked, they would have did that a long time ago. That she could be one I could see them bring back on a restructured deal down the road when they just need to piss fans off for a reason, and then bring her in to not squash somebody, but to attack somebody like an Alexa Bliss or whatever. So that to me is like a Braun Strowman type thing, right? They just didn't have anything for him. Could have had a little bit of backstage attitude and pushback, right? Because I'm The Rock's cousin, I'm going to get what I want. Creatively, we know they released Bray, and the rumors were he was pushing back creatively. That's, you know, when you have that, The Office featuring Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, Kevin Dunn, I mean, you got to watch what you say, because those guys are going to get you in trouble. I mean, that's just how it is. We've heard too many stories with people that have worked from them not to believe that.
Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat, says, thank God, no offense to her personally. I've met her. She is a sweetheart, but she is so boring to watch, and she's out of shape in the ring. Well, Robbie, what do you think about her being boring? You've been talking a lot about characters, whether you're interested in them or not. Did you find Nia Jax to be an interesting character?
No. I mean, when the only thing that stands out is her yelling "my hole," and so I hope her and her hole enjoy themselves in the Impact Zone.
Oh God, yeah. I do not think AEW will be picking her up. She'll probably end up in Impact, although maybe she does come back as somebody with a restructured deal. That's also a possibility. I mean, she's been on the main roster now for a while. What has it been? 5 years?
Yeah,
because honestly, I think like her and Strowman, they were paying them a lot, and they really weren't main eventers. I mean, I know Strowman had some big matches, but so them getting cut for financial purposes, I believe more so, just because I think they were getting overpaid for what their real worth was.
All right, Big G, your thoughts on Nia Jax?
No surprise. I mean, I was happy when Shayna Baszler, quote unquote, took her off of TV. I couldn't stand Nia Jax anymore.
I'll tell you this. I'm surprised because she was always protected in the booking. Like when she was teaming up with Shayna, it was always Shayna taking the pinfall loss. We were joking about it all the time.
Right.
And then Nia Jax gets released. So it does feel like a lot of times with these releases that it's just done at the last minute and there's really no thought process. They're just like at the very moment they're deciding on releases. Who are we using right now? Who are we not? The people are not.
Right. And I'm sure they were thinking, they didn't have anything for Nia at the moment after they broke her up, or they were trying to repackage her or whatever. But I feel like Nia was brought up way too early from NXT because I think she wasn't there that long in NXT before she was brought up to the main roster. And I don't know. I just hadn't liked her from day one. So I'm on the same boat with everybody else in the room.
She had a little heat with Charlotte, didn't she, too?
That shoot fight or whatever. Or I don't know
maybe they're protecting Charlotte because of all the drama around her, and they're just like, all right, we don't need Nia Jax, one less person that'll be mad at Charlotte backstage. I don't know.
Right.
Well, another thing that surprised me, like with these releases, if you're going to release somebody, maybe you should have them put over people on the way out, and instead of just randomly releasing them. We saw that earlier this year with Aleister Black. They brought him back just to release him 2 weeks later without him even putting over anybody. So it just goes to show that this is all being done last minute and really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which is why it's hard to predict these releases sometimes because you just don't know. Nobody's safe, as they say right now. I feel like with a few exceptions, pretty much anybody on the roster can be cut. So we do have another super chat here from Alberto Gomez. Let me get to that in a second here. Caleb says she was better in NXT. Well, you could say that for a lot of the wrestlers. Alberto Gomez with a $2 super chat says, Nia gets repackaged to be in the bloodline?
No. I thought about that, but that's not the kind of heat I want.
If they hadn't put Naomi yet in the bloodline, I don't think they're.
I'd rather have Tamina. I just like if you're gonna have a power figure female,
I'm surprised Tamina hasn't gotten cut yet.
No, Vince loved Jimmy, dude. He's not gonna get rid of his daughter.
Yeah, that's true.
He covered up murder for that dude. What are you talking about? He's gonna keep his daughter on that payroll forever.
All right, well,
that's true. I mean, it's a fact. You could look that up.
All right, let's move on here to Psycho Jet Black. He sent in a $2 super chat. Says Nia Jax versus Suzuki in a shoot fight.
Who is that?
Would be interesting.
Who is Minoru Suzuki?
He was on Dynamite the past few weeks.
Oh, is that old guy that fought Moxley or Dean Ambrose or whatever his name is? All right, cool.
Yeah. Hey, that would be interesting. Intergender match. I'd be morbidly interested in that.
Poor wrestling woman versus old man. Sounds awesome. That's right up Tony Khan's alley.
Oh, God. Dr. NXT, let me try that again. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, if guys like Kross and Keith Lee were built up and booked consistent, they could have been credible challengers for Roman Reigns or Big E. I agree with that, but
real stars don't need it.
You got to build them up first. These are guys that have potential.
Okay, who has been released from WWE in the last 10 years that has been pushed hard and actually you would consider a giant draw now?
Cody, maybe?
Cody is not a giant draw. Cody
he's got his own TV show.
Have you seen the ratings for it?
Well,
it's not good.
If they get renewed for a second season, then...
So you're saying, though, so in the last decade, Cody Rhodes is the biggest star to get released from WWE. What does that tell you?
That Cody was undervalued?
I mean, we can't even say that about CM Punk because of where AEW's numbers are now.
Yeah.
Oh, they've killed his hype. That thing is done. He's just another dude on YouTube at this point. No one cares anymore. At least the casual viewers like myself.
All right, let's move on here. Shanti with a $5 super chat. Shanti says, at least they didn't hinder my gender. Shanti. What do you think about that, Virtue? You're the biggest gender fan here.
Gender fan? No, I'm a Roman
I'm surprised they
Reigns
didn't
fan.
release him again.
I'm a Roman Reigns fan, and because they put them in a program, I was naturally making pushing them up a little bit there. Come on, people.
All right. What about Eva Marie? I'm not really surprised about that. Frankly, I'm surprised they even brought her back in the first place. And people are like,
right? I think they got her. I think they brought her in just to put Doudrop over. I'm sorry, Piper Niven.
Yeah, it's like when they announced her returning, I'm like, okay, maybe she got better in the ring, but then they weren't doing anything with her, and I was like, well, maybe they're setting up for this big reveal where she's actually going to be really good in the ring, and then she got in the ring, and it was the same Eva Marie. So, yeah, I really don't understand why she was brought back. Like, to me, that rehiring was mind-boggling.
So this may be a stupid question.
Yeah.
Now, when they get released, do they still get paid from their contract?
Yeah, they're paid until their non-compete clause expires. They're paid their downside guarantee.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure. Okay.
Yeah. Harry Smith, who they did absolutely nothing with. Another guy I'm surprised
they brought him back too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they rehired him and did absolutely nothing with him. So he's no surprise. Yeah. So now we're starting to get into some of the lower tier guys. But let's talk about B-Fab from Hit Row. Hit Row was just called up to the main roster, and now one of the members is already gone.
That pisses me because I like Hit Row. And I was like, you have to have some diversity in there. You know, have a female on there. And she kind of, I don't want to say made the group, but like, I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but like seriously, you put this group together not too long ago in NXT, and you bring them up to SmackDown because they're all young, they're young, fresh talent, and now you release a female just because.
Does she have star power?
Let me put all four names in a hat and see who comes out.
Pretty much.
Would you buy a ticket to see her? Would you buy a ticket to see her, or would you buy some of her merch at this point in her career?
No, because she just started.
Yeah, so why do we care? She's a nobody. I mean,
you got to remember, WWE's been doing this for decades.
Oh yeah,
back in the territory days, they brought in big stars, let them go, brought in new big stars and mid card stars. Vince McMahon has always had a big revolving door of talent because he wanted.
So what's the point of bringing somebody up then and
to give them a shot to see what they got? Hey, they're like, you know what? I think it looks like this. Yeah, I think they're like, okay, we're probably going to release this guy, but before we've already put all this time and money in NXT in this guy. Let's see what he can do on the main roster. We don't really have a lot of high hopes for him. We don't really have any plans. But hey, if they surprise us, we'll try to reap back some of that money we invested in him. And then when they were like, well, that's not what we want, they cut their losses and they move on. It's business.
Well, the thing is, in Virtue, you're right on that. Like, people act like this is a shocking thing that so many people are being released. But let's look back in the mid-'90s. Like, they were bringing guys in and out, and the roster was changing all the time. They were definitely not keeping the same people around. Like, the 1994 roster was very different from the 1992 roster. If you look at the names that were there at the time, so you're completely right on that. They were rotating talent all the time. But yeah, I agree with Big G that like Hit Row weren't even given a chance. Like, they were literally on TV for like 2 weeks. Now, Virtue, is the group dead now? Should they just throw in the towel with all of them at this point?
I mean, how long did Retribution last? You know, probably 1 week too long, or after the first week, it was already too long. I don't know.
Enzo and Cass did okay without Carmella, though.
Yeah.
Because they had star power.
Well, now they got to change their theme song because she was part of the theme song. She was like the main thing in the song, and now they're going to have to change that up.
Yep, and that's the thing. Look, I mean, they were literally changing Karrion Kross before our eyes on TV.
Yeah,
they don't, Aaron. This doesn't matter to them. They'll just do something else and with them. Whether they just bring them two out with a repackaged entrance theme or whatever, split them up. That's what they do. That's what
they think
WWE
fans
does.
Have a short attention span anyway, so they think fans will just forget a week later, anyways.
I mean, you guys also forget WWE also fired everybody in WCW and ECW. Like, this is not new to them.
Nah.
You know what I mean? They do this every 10 years or so. They just have a big firing. It's a cleansing. It's a purge.
Yeah, this is like the third one this year. I mean, this is the most amount of people they've cut in a very long time.
And look at
He was hoarding
look at those
talent.
numbers. Look at
Well, he
those
was hoarding
numbers,
talent.
that money. It's just nuts.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I think, like I said before, man, I think he was originally probably worried about AEW, but I still think after the way they handled CM Punk, I think that's why a lot of these people lost their jobs, because Tony didn't know how to book CM Punk, and they lost their momentum, and he's not afraid of them anymore.
Robbie, we also have to remember they might be budgetizing too to get Michael Cole a better set of headphones so he can hear.
65% hearing loss.
I can't believe he's lost. Yeah, he's lost that much. I mean,
well, think about it. What do you think's louder? What do you think's louder, the arena or Vince?
Did he say exactly what was wrong with him? Some people have genetic defect.
I'm not sure. I didn't. Yeah,
like that's
probably Vince going in his ears.
But I'm just saying, if he lost that by being in the wrestling business with all the loud pyros and stuff over the year, that's nuts, man.
I think about how loud that is, especially when back in the '90s, late '90s, when he was doing all the house shows.
Yeah,
I mean that guy back in the day was a workhorse announcer. He did that Superstar show on Sundays. I mean, that guy was doing everything.
He'll be all right. They got good technology these days.
I'm pretty sure Michael Cole likely has good insurance too. I would imagine.
I'm sure he has a hearing aid when he's
and he's still with WWE. No announcers or refs this time around, huh?
I don't think so.
Oh, Aaron. Well, they recently released that announcer not too long ago.
Yeah, Greg Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was over some controversy stuff too, wasn't it?
He was like threatening someone with WWE's lawyers, I think.
Yeah.
On Twitter, being an idiot. Yeah.
Aaron, what do we got? Do we got any more super chats or names on the list that are really noteworthy to talk about here?
Yeah, the Robo Buck sent in a $5 super chat, says, Dewdrop is the new face Bailey, and what was the point of turning Shotzi Black heel? I guess to keep Shotzi Black employed at this point, quite frankly. I think that they're just trying to figure out something to do with her, so they're like, well, let's turn her heel. I really hope they don't cut her. Like I think she's pretty awesome, and I hope the heel turn works. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. I feel like she's a good babyface, but I like her whole entrance and persona. But I'm a little worried for her if this heel turn doesn't work out, that she could be in trouble. But I really hope she does well in WWE. Like when she did the Halloween Havoc hosting last year, like to me she showed some personality. And I thought that she could potentially do well on the main roster, but thought that way about a lot of people that are gone now. So it's really hard to say. I think we're caught up with the super chats for now. So let's get to a couple more of these names. Franky Monet, who is married to John Morrison, which kind of interests me because I thought she might have some job security, considering John Morrison is part of WWE, been around for a long time. She never got a chance on the main roster. So what do you guys think went wrong with her? Like, she's kind of got a unique look to her, but do you think maybe something about her Vince did not like or Kevin Dunn did not like? Virtue, what do you think?
Exactly. I think that, I mean, I can't even say that anymore. I mean, like, they have Piper Niven. Nia Jax was on the roster for a long time. Shayna Baszler, right? All beautiful women in their own way. But we know the Vince McMahon version of what a beautiful woman is on wrestling television. Franky Monet, she looks like a tough girl though. That's what I'm surprised. But maybe, hey, Big G, maybe that's just not. I mean, they didn't do much with Shayna, so maybe when they see when Vince and Kevin Dunn, they just didn't think they could use her. Yeah. This is probably good for her because she's another one. Like I wouldn't want to necessarily go back to Impact. The AEW women's division could use her.
Yeah. She only had a few matches in NXT to begin with. And, like Aaron said, you figure job security because she's married to Morrison.
She's older, too. Like, isn't she like 40 years old? I mean,
I think she's like 37, 36.
37. Yeah. But isn't that – I ain't trying to get on to all that. But anyway.
That's not old.
It's not. It's not. I mean – yeah, she was part of the old NXT. Maybe they're trying to. Well, you still got Ciampa and Gargano there, but
you have to have
some other people from the old NXT. But still, it's like I said before, how are you gonna make a new star or build somebody to be a potential star if you keep on releasing these people? And yeah, you have people on the assembly line waiting to go, but then you're gonna be bored with that person and drop that person off and then get to the next one. And it's I don't know. I don't know.
But what if you pass up on a can't miss prospect because your roster is full? There's two sides to that too. Having flexibility in your roster to see if you see something special that you can bring in and start doing is better than having a bloated roster where more people get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
At least from an employee standpoint, I would imagine.
See, where I think the problem started, Aaron? Vince McMahon when Undertaker, how did they know that was going to be all-time legendary? And is in terms of bringing a guy in, giving him a gimmick, and having him dominate WrestleMania for 30 years. And now I think Vince McMahon's he uses that as the model. Could this guy be not the dark man gimmick, but just as bringing a wrestler from the territories or the indies or developing them into your big star? And Undertaker might be problematic because Vince is trying to get somebody to be that, and he can't find it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We got some more super chats here. Let me get to a couple more of these real quick here before I get too far behind. Okay, so Hab Connell sent in a $2 super chat. This is in regards to Franky Monet. Says, would not be surprised if Morrison is released too. I actually thought when I saw Franky's name pop up as somebody released, I thought Morrison was going to be on the list.
I thought so too.
Because he's doing
Morrison.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think Morrison will stick around in the company. I think he'll end up just being an agent at some point.
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
Miz is supposed to. I think the Miz might be coming back on Monday since he got eliminated from Dancing with the Stars, and they're gonna try to go back to that feud.
He's just doing nothing. He's really been doing nothing much really, other than the stuff with the Miz. But yeah, he's just sitting around meditating. It's clear they got no plans for him, but as mentioned earlier, maybe he's just somebody that's there to put over some other people, and they use him as one of those guys, and that's what he's there for. He's never going to be pushed. I guess they decided to cut the people that they're we're not going to push this guy. We already have our guys like Ricochet and Morrison that are putting over other people, so we're just going to keep using those guys and get rid of the guys that we're not planning to do anything with. I think that's what it comes down to at this point. So
Morrison, though, he's like an older version of Dolph Ziggler. He's someone he's reliable and consistent. He'll give you a good match. He'll make people look good. I think he's somewhat valuable to have on the roster.
Fair enough. I mean, that's definitely a fair point there. Now, let's see what else we got here. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Lashley and McIntyre came back and became world champions. If those guys got a second chance, I'm sure that Keith Lee and Karrion Kross will get another chance. I mean, it's possible, but with Keith Lee's age, I think that's probably working against him. Karrion Kross, maybe. But it's they didn't even turn him into a comedy character with Drew McIntyre. They were trying to give him a serious push, and then they cut him. So I really don't know. I mean, I suppose if Kross went somewhere else and did really well, they could bring him back. I mean, there were other guys that were brought back that did not do so well, like EC3. He was in NXT as Derek Bateman. They brought him back, and he fizzled out, and he was a body guy. He's somebody with a chiseled physique, somebody that Vince likes, and he went nowhere. Really hard to say. It's a tough call, and sometimes timing works in your favor. Sometimes timing doesn't work in your favor, and maybe with these guys, the timing will be right one day. They'll be able to come back, but you just don't know. All right, let's get to a couple more of these names that we have. We still have several names, but these are the lower tier guys. So I figured we could just run through them real quick and give our thoughts. First off, Thomas Farmer sent in a $2 super chat. Says 4 of the last 6 NXT champions were released this year. Where's Mr. Tito to give his thoughts on that? Tito would say that's a sign that Vince doesn't have confidence in Triple H.
He wants his OVW class of 2002. He wants I would say Shield but Ambrose Moxley's gone, but they still have Rollins out of that, who's done some big things, and of course Reigns. That's what Vince wants. He's looking for those type of, in his mind, stars that can headline WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat. Says Karrion Kross AEW bound next, guarantee it. Well, he thinks it's going to happen.
To do what?
I'm leaning towards no. I think he'll go back to Impact if I had to make a prediction on it. All right, let's get to the other names. So I'm going to read them off, and then anybody wants to chime in on any of these names. So Lucha House Party, Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, they're gone. I believe Gran Metalik asked for his release, so clearly it was granted. Oney Lorcan, not surprised. Jessi Kamea, not surprised.
I don't even know who that is.
She's been doing stuff in NXT. Zayda Ramier, another person who's just been doing matches here and there, putting over other people in NXT. Trey Baxter, been on NXT lately, but I mean,
I think his girlfriend, Cora Jade, is down there still.
Yeah, well, for now. Katrina Cortez, and she's really been doing nothing. And Jeet Rama, and I'm not even sure who that is.
I think that was that Indian chick that was down there. I'm not too sure.
So I think those are the remaining names that we have not talked about.
No surprise.
Robbie, any thoughts on any of those names?
I don't know who most of them are, so I have no opinion on them. I wish them luck in their future endeavors, and I hope they make as much money in their career as they can. But yeah, don't know who they are. It doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, and to respond to Walter, I think that Samoa Joe, they're using him as like a recruiter right now. Maybe he's safe, but he was another guy I thought like, well, they clearly don't want to use him in the role they brought him back for. So now he's kind of just doing talent recruiting. We'll see how long it lasts for him. Virtue, your thoughts?
Don't really care. And the thing is, Aaron, there's probably just naming those names right now. Oney Lorcan, we've talked about him on NXT predictions and stuff. Just hearing those names, there's at some point, probably in the spring, right? We're going to have more. I mean, WWE have they really signed anybody new recently? Or did they already have all these NXT people that are in NXT 2.0 now? I mean, during these last few big rounds of cuts, have they signed anybody big? Gable Steveson? I mean, new people.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's somebody that I'm sure they're going to push really hard. And, they're looking at Gable Steveson, Braun Breaker, Von Wagner. These are the guys that they're looking at. Hey, these are going to be our next superstars. And they got plenty of people. They got plenty of people.
They're cutting the people that Triple H hoarded from the indies. I don't know how many people came over when they bought Evolve and how that all worked. I mean, I don't think any of those were contracted wrestlers. But that, to me now, Aaron, you're getting into these names. I'm not surprised that these people were cut, and I feel that there will be more.
Yeah, and of these names that I just mentioned, I really don't see AEW picking up any of them. Maybe one or two of them might show up on Dark for a match or two.
I think Lince and Gran Metalik might. Yeah. If anything, they might go back down to Mexico to AAA.
Yep.
Very possible. And a few might end up in Impact Wrestling. And that's pretty much it. So Hap Connell sent in a $5 super chat, says, one thing I miss these days is there are no wrestlers that people do impressions of like Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and The Rock. Everybody is bland. That is a great point. And I think we've addressed that before, maybe on this series or on one of my live streams. But yeah, like who's a wrestler right now that you could really do a good impression of? Like nobody really. That I can think of.
You could do Nakamura's little dance thing, but that's probably as close as it is. Everyone is just brooding and angry or soft-spoken.
There's no good gimmicks to do impersonations of. Like could a Jason Sensation like master a CM Punk voice maybe? Yeah. But like, how fans would just dress up as a Hulk Hogan or a Macho Man. There's just no good gimmicks for anybody.
With Orange Cassidy, people dress up like Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I mean, and if that's the one you were thinking of, that's sad.
Yeah,
that's absolutely sad.
As far as like promos,
John Cena is the closest thing.
John Cena is like the closest thing. Maybe Roman
Jericho, maybe some of his lists and some of his catchphrases over the years, people still kind of do. But he kind of goes back to that before time when wrestlers actually had personalities. So
correct.
Well, and some people are like, Paul Heyman. I'm not saying Roman Reigns is one because the Samoans have never been like other than The Rock because he's so larger than life. The Samoans have never been, you don't really see people impersonating them ever. So I'll give Roman Reigns the benefit of the doubt. But like The Rock, because of the eyebrow and the flashy shirts, everybody was doing The Rock too.
Well, kind of like the Usos. Welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. Whoa,
It's more of a,
whoa,
it's not really a
whoa.
cadence to it, though.
New
You know what I
Day.
mean?
I like
Oh,
when the
New Day,
Usos go
New
whoa.
Day.
New Day.
New Day, yeah.
Actually, New Day. Oh, and Big G, you were doing the Street Profits. You were doing
Yeah.
an impression of them.
We
You know,
went
not
to
the-
smoke, yeah.
Yeah, not so much the promo, but like the whole entrance and everything.
The whole
You
entrance,
could
yeah.
reenact.
Street Profits are going to be great when they like learn how to wrestle and have like ring psychology. Those guys are literally going to be top stars in the industry.
Well, a lot of people are high on Montez Ford right now, and there's been talk about splitting those guys up.
Super athletic.
They intended
in the
to,
ring.
but they intended to, and I guess somebody backstage said no, don't split them up.
Ford would be good. It's just his facials in the ring are awful. He's still
I
very
like him.
green. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it comes off to me as just like he's pretending that he's a professional. Like he like channels the Ultimate Warrior with shaking the ropes and his stupid facials. Like his in-ring work is good. It's just like his character is dumb. And ever since he had those like fake seizures or whatever the hell was happening to him, I've just thought that whole gimmick was stupid. I can't get beyond that. Didn't he get poisoned by someone?
Yeah.
Yeah, something dumb like that happened.
Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat. Says T-Bar, Mace, and Slapjack need to be released. Well, Slapjack is going nowhere. They gave him some kind of Australian gimmick, which I guess is fitting with his real life.
Yeah, he's
persona
Australian.
background, but yeah, it feels
What a
so
lazy gimmick.
1980s. Yeah.
You're Australian. You will be a crocodile hunter. Thanks, Vince.
And I liked Dominic Dijakovic, but I don't like the name because it's stealing my middle name. And I'm not defending my middle name. It's not a good wrestler name.
I still can't believe that's your middle name.
I know.
I know.
He
I
sent
thought
us
he was
a
like
picture of his driver's license. I didn't think it was true until I saw his driver's license.
And Mace, you know, I like him. And I remember when he stood next to Brock Lesnar, he was doing commentary for that brief period of time. And when he stood next to Brock Lesnar, like he towered over Brock Lesnar. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy should be in the ring. Like they got to try to do something with him. So I think there's still hope for him and maybe Dominic Dijakovic, although I'm thinking they're not going to do anything with him. They didn't do anything with Keith Lee, and probably T-Bar and Mace are in the danger zone right now, but I'm still hopeful that they'll get an opportunity to succeed. All right, so I think we are pretty much at the end here. Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, thank you, Robbie, for your opinions on Montez Ford.
Like I said a million times, I am just a dude. My opinions mean nothing, and they absolutely do not reflect the opinions of the owners of NoDQ.com. But if it's a sincere comment, then I appreciate it. I'm always just going to say what I think, but just I do not hold my opinions. I hold my opinion in the same esteem my wife does. Not at all. So I say things all the time. Just ignore me.
All right. Hab Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Says, I remember in middle school, we all used to do impressions of the New Age Outlaws. Everybody wore wrestling shirts to school every day. Yep. Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you if kids today wear wrestling shirts.
To this day, I still know the whole New Age Outlaws. When Road Dogg was thing.
People did impressions of Enzo.
No.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Enzo. Yeah.
I still miss that guy. I still want to see him back on a big stage.
Well, I got to meet Enzo a couple weeks ago. Him and Kaz. And after
they're ready to rock and roll, man. They just need an opportunity.
And I literally, after I did my meet and greet with Enzo and Kaz, I talked with Enzo for about like a good 10 minutes, like off to the side. He's a pretty cool dude. So
glad you got that opportunity. Meet up with him.
Mark. That's all right.
I literally had to look up to Kaz. I was like, holy crap!
Is Kaz still looking shredded?
The topics we did not get to today that you might have thought we were going to talk about, we'll see how the next week develops, but we'll make sure we can talk about them to a point on the next review, or, on Twitter, we can talk about them too. But I definitely am not going to go any longer, but we did not expect this to happen this evening at this rate, where the whole review was taken over by this. And obviously we had no choice because you, the NoDQ Galaxy, wanted to hear about this. So here we are. Aaron, I don't have anything else. Should we go around and do our plugs?
Well, let me get to Walter Cruz here. He said, in regards to Samoa Joe, maybe if Michael Cole gets worse with his hearing, that Joe can be a commentator again. I'd like to see Joe back on the Raw commentary team, but they got their thing. Pat McAfee's actually doing a great job. So I
love McAfee on the mic. Oh my god,
yeah, he's great, and there's always an opportunity for Joe. I think if they wanted him,
get rid of Saxton. Oh my god.
Yeah, I would agree on that. With all due respect to the guy, I'm sure he's a nice guy and all. But
I'm sure, but my god,
I've never really been a fan. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Great job tonight, fellas. We appreciate it, Mr. Tito. Make sure you guys check out his comms. I know Virtue and him, they blow up my Twitter feed every now and then with all their arguments."
I don't know what you're talking about, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
everybody knows travel at your own risk on my Twitter. I mean, that's been like that for 5 years. There's no secrets.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Imagine Ricochet with a karaoke gimmick. Imagine
better than what he's doing now.
Imagine Ricochet with any gimmick where he has to talk. Not a pretty sight.
Give him that Max Caster treatment.
Let the guy wrestle. He didn't.
Oh, hey, Robbie, how dare WWE releases have overtaken one of the topics we were pushing back that we're not going to talk about tonight was how CM Punk and Daniel Bryan have done so far in AEW. Those AEW fans are really going to be mad that we could not squeeze that in.
Well, let me condense it down to a really quick segment for that.
Okay.
It's gone awful. All right, let's move on. There's nothing more to say.
To be continued. Cliffhanger. Maybe something good will happen with them this week.
So that's the No DQ review, and maybe next week we'll get to a couple of the topics we didn't get to, depending on how dated they are. So I guess we'll go ahead and do the plugs. Robbie Vice, you want to start us off?
Whatever. Yeah, follow me. Don't follow me. It's fine. It's at the Robbie Vice. You're not going to like most of the things I say because I don't follow the tribalism and crazy cult fanaticism that has become modern wrestling. But I do talk a lot about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm really excited about their 5-4 start. Can't wait to watch them stomp the Knicks in a couple weeks so I could rub that in Vito and Virtue's face. And the last thing I'll leave you guys on is that CM Punk is the biggest colossal failure in wrestling booking history. And that's it.
But it's on whose account? On Tony Khan?
Oh, Tony Khan. Tony Khan, literally the booker of the year. Literally, he had the biggest thing that he could possibly have. And he said, let's have him wrestle cold matches on Rampage because that's what the people want to see. They're like, oh, should we put him in a cool match with Omega and actually have him be this giant face to fight evil? No, let's have him fight someone you've never heard of on YouTube. Awesome. Now he's just some guy.
Well, thanks for being on, Robbie. I mean, you were electric tonight, just like The Rock.
I have my moments.
Over to you.
NoDQ.com/BigWildG takes you to my Twitter. And if you have TikTok by any chance, you can follow me at TikTok at BigWildG1988. That is it for me.
All right, Aaron.
All right, just NoDQ.com. We'll keep you updated with the news and the fallout regarding the releases. And I'll be back after SmackDown to talk about that show. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting period to see where everybody goes here. We're still wondering what's gonna happen with Bray Wyatt, and that was gonna be one of our topics. What's going on with Bray Wyatt? What about Braun Strowman? Both of these guys are free agents now. We got Full Gear coming up. There's a few free agents out there, and we'll have to see what happens with that. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Robbie, what do you think about Roman Reigns right now?
I think he's an above average worker in the ring, but he tells a really good story. And I think he has one of the most interesting characters in wrestling in the past 10 years.
All right. And this kind of would have tied in with another topic we had, Virtue, like what's the best thing in wrestling right now? I say it's still Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, the thing with this is we don't know how long it's going to run this way. But I'm excited for down the road. I want to see the face turn and how it's received. Like this is that opportunity that Roman finally gets to that position that Vince McMahon always wanted him, if they can execute this right. But again, we'll see. Maybe he'll never be. Maybe he'll be a tweener. Maybe he'll be this the rest of his career.
Man. I think he's going to maintain a little bit more of that edge. I don't think we're ever going to see him go back to the suffer and suffer.
Oh, no, definitely not that.
You know what I mean?
But the night after that WrestleMania when he beat The Undertaker, and he was still babyface, but the fans hated him, but he kind of controlled that situation. That
the I'm the guy promo? I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy.
This is my yard now.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, But anyway, that's it. Aaron, any other last things? NoDQ.com/merch.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Check that out.
Follow me on Twitter if you dare at NoDQ_virtue. I will push your buttons to try to get you to unfollow me, and I have a pretty good successful rate at that. However, I still got a pretty good following considering. So with that said, I am the Troll Slayer, the Debate King. That's Aaron Riff, the boss. That's Robbie Vice with Rolling the Dice. You got that shirt, right, Robbie, out there?
I do have a shirt out there.
Nice.
No one will buy my merch because I am the resident, no offense, Virtue. I'm the resident asshole of NoDQ, and no one likes my opinions. But someday someone will buy my shirt, and I will feel happy.
All right. And, of course, Big G over there, the Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But this has been the NoDQ review number 161. We will be back next time, and we will talk about all those other topics, including where is Bray Wyatt going to go, or will he land in Hollywood and the horror movie industry? And we can talk about AEW, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and all that good stuff next time. How about that for a cliffhanger? See you later, NoDQ Galaxy. Good night.
Peace.